In the first half of the 20th century, a number of well-known bookbinding authors wrote instructions on how to bind a single-section book, or pamphlet. It's a really nice project to get started in bookbinding. As you can see from this example here, it's a 32-page book. They're great gifts. I've made one for all my family members. It doesn't require a lot of materials, some board, some coloured paper for the covers, some scrim to reinforce the spine, some thread for the sewing, some book cloth for the spine, some scraps of paper, and some lined paper for the pages, and some paper for the end papers. The board is 1.6mm board. You need some basic tools, ruler and knife and scissors and set square and awl, but you can use a needle on a cork. A bone folder is nice, though you can just use the smooth end of a kitchen knife, PVA glue and a needle for the sewing. Start by counting out 8 sheets of paper for the text. Fold these in half. Give the fold a good crease with the bone folder. One sheet for the attachment paper and one sheet for the paste down. Fold these in half, but don't make the crease too sharp because they're going to go around the text block. Put a clothes peg on it just to hold everything in place. Use some corrugated cardboard to help with the piercing of holes. Pierce one roughly in the centre and one from the head and the tail about 20mm, and then another hole in between each of those holes. Just by eye is fine. Thread up your needle with linen thread. Start in the centre, start from the outside and then work your way up to the tail. If you have trouble pushing the needle through from the outside, just give the hole a bit of a open up or a clean up from the inside first, like I do there. When you come back out the hole in the centre, you want one thread either side of the thread that goes along the spine, and then you just tie a knot, a simple reef knot over that piece of thread that goes along the spine. Now we want to reinforce the spine with a bit of scrim or mull. Just cut a strip a little bit shorter than the length of the book, about 25mm wide, which happens to be the width of my ruler. PVA is a flexible adhesive and is perfect for the spine. We'll use PVA for this whole project just to keep the project simple. However, for some of the other jobs such as gluing on the board papers and casing in, we'd be better off using starch paste or a mix of starch paste. Like I said, we're going to keep this simple, so we'll just stick with PVA. Now we're going to trim up the edges. Mark a line parallel to the spine and use your knife and steel rule to trim the foredge. And then use a set square to trim the tail and the head square. Now we're going to cut the covers, or boards as they're known to bookbinders. We're going to have a 3mm square at the head and the tail on the foredge. The square is the overlap of the board past the text block. We're also going to have a 6mm gap at the spine. So for the head to tail distance it'll be +6, but from the spine to the foredge it's going to be -3. Start by making a straight edge and marking that, and then do a right angle corner and mark that as square. Once you have a square corner, make all your measurements from this square corner. Make sure the grain direction is head to tail. I've marked the grain direction on the board here, and you can determine that by flexing the board. Now we're going to attach the boards. Draw a line 6mm from the spine and glue out the boards. Pitch the boards very carefully to this line with an even square head and tail, 3mm. We want the spine cloth to cover 1/4 of the width of the book. So we measure from the outside of the spine to the foredge, divide by 4, then we add 3 because the board paper is going to overlap the spine cloth by 3 millimeters. So we measure that from the outside of the spine along the board on both sides of the book. To turn in the spine cloth later, it's easiest to put a little slit on the board attachment papers. This gives easy access to the hollow of the spine. You can turn in over that paper down towards the sewing, but I think it gives a better result if you turn it into the hollow. We use a strip of waste paper to work out the width of the cloth. Glue out the spine cloth and pitch it to the line marked 30 millimeters from the spine and wrap it around the spine. It should be a nice snug fit over the spine and reach the other 30 millimeter mark. Define the spine groove with your bone folder. This is the trickiest part of the whole project. Open up the hollow spine with your bone folder, put glue on the turn-in, and then use your thumb to roll the cloth into that hollow. Some days it just doesn't go right, and if it doesn't go right for you, just pull the turn-in back out flat, go have a cool drink, and then come back and do it later. It'll work the next time you try it. You want about 12 millimeters for the turn-ins on the foredge and head and tail. And there's a 3 millimeter overlap with the spine cloth. I round up to 25 millimeters for the length of the book. Make sure that the grain direction on the covering paper is head to tail. Use your awl to make little prick marks 3 millimeters in on the spine cloth, and then pitch the board paper to these prick marks. We're going to do mitered corners. Cut the board paper off 1.5 board thicknesses, which is about 3 millimeters in this case, away from the corner at 45 degrees. Always turn in the head and tail first, and there will be a little tab of paper on the foredge. Just poke that in with your thumb. Make sure the pattern direction is the same on the front and back. The final step is to glue down the paste downs. Put a piece of waste paper in underneath the paste down. Brush from the centre of the paste down. And carefully close the cover. I tend to sort of roll the cover in a little bit, but you can just close it up as well. Once both paste downs are glued, just leave the book open on the bench to dry. If there's any wrinkles in the paste down, use some rubbing down paper to work them out. These are great pocket-sized notebooks. They make great gifts. The kit that I have for sale in my store has enough materials to make 4 books. Go to DAS bookbinding.com and click on the store button.